You want to check and see if it's us?
That's exactly
Saying hello.
We got minions. We're all good.
Okay, it's all right. We're trying to figure out how to put it on.
Oh, thank you.
I thought I knew more.
You figured it out. Are you a techie kind of guy?
No, that was the surprise. I mean,
I am definitely not. But I was like, oh, this is what we used to do.
yeah, it's.
Great. Oh, it's ready.
I don't see.
You look like a flight attendant. Like you flying.
Some crazy story. What would I do It's up on YouTube. Never a dull moment. Kelly has the print up on it. I'm right behind. So it's like, can you say that? Hi.
Thanks for the email, Kara. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Yesterday.
No, I totally excited. It's like it's a new night, doesn't it? It feels like that. Oh, no, I just confirmed. Oh, she's not.
Hi, beautiful.
Anyone else pull?
There's a chair for you, Lizzie, to sing if you'd like.
Join us.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna use these here. And you know what, why don't you guys sit in the front row? So far away over there. This is an intimate experience.
My phone was sitting there.
I didn't really dress for this presentation. Oh, remember the chicken breakfast this morning? Yeah. Mouse.
My head is in my camera.
You guys are feeling better?
We are feeling.
We are all better. Our daughter in Boston. Our daughter in Boston.
Be good. We have next year. Yeah, I thought that too morning. That would be the wrong accent.
Everyone in the valley was driving up my street 2 hours. It's not the way I it looked like waves has destroyed my full access place, though. Snacks and that.
Good evening. So this is a bit of a unique little service. I just want to have this so I can actually look at it there. The chair's too far behind. This service is not one that we do regularly at Temple Emmanuel. We have had memorial services to mark the end of Sheloshim over the years. They've been private ceremonies. The reason why we wanted to do this are a couple of reasons. You can see my phone over there is recording this, so my entire family is watching this from other parts of the United States. So hello to everyone in Ann Arbor, hello to people in Cincinnati, hello to people in, could be even Ireland, Dublin. So we got Seattle, could be Seattle, and everybody knows what's going on. So hello to my family, and this marks the 30 days after my father Ronald Aaron's passing. And I didn't want this to be a humongous service, so I was pleased to just put something out on Tuesday, and I see who showed up today. Everybody that I've known for a very long time. And I'm so grateful for you to be here so that our family can say Kaddish. That's really what we're here for. We need 10 people to do that. I can't do that alone. There's two kind of initial mourning periods. There's the Shiva for the 7 days, and then for the remaining month, we are still in a state of mourning, but it's a little bit different than those first 7 days. First 7 days, you're supposed to just stay in the house. People will come and visit. They'll come bring food. As a matter of fact, I think my mother's had one meal that she has cooked in the last month. Because she has a wonderful synagogue community in Ann Arbor. But it marks, this marks an ending. I'm not quite sure inside of me what's going to be the difference between this past month and tomorrow. Except that I will shave. I will know. The only reason why I have this on the sides of my face is in this last month I've refrained from shaving, as is Jewish tradition, as a reminder and a sign for myself. So tonight and tomorrow, for at least for our family, is kind of a time to reflect once again, in a beautiful way, a meaningful way. Once again, what my father's life meant to me and to my family, and all of us that are here, and to recognize that life has been different now. Next week we will celebrate Thanksgiving, and it'll be the first Thanksgiving without him. I had a birthday a couple weeks ago, and it was the first birthday without him. And we're going to go through the remainder of the year having these moments and reminders and life that happens that we commemorate. And so we're going to have this year where we understand what it's like to be without my father. And then we'll gather together right before the year is up, and we'll put down a plaque that recognizes that we know what life's now like, and we can put down this plaque and we can give that meaning. So tonight, we're not going to go through the whole Siddur. We're going to do some prayers. We're going to do some short meditations. We're just going to kind of bring ourselves through the service. And then before we get to the Kaddish section, I'll have a few words to say about my dad. I'll open it up if anyone else wants to say anything. Although it's not going to be like the ones where people come up, in the front and give 20-minute speeches. That we're not going to do. But just so you may not have known my dad. Just so you have an idea of who he was. Just say a few words about him. But let's begin with a baruch Hu. On these really smooth siddurim. What we're going to do, we're just going to start with the evening service. It's on 4A. Let's rise together for the beginning of our prayers. And
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach.
let's go to, excuse me, on page 5. There's a reading at the top. I'd like to read this reading, and then just take 2 seconds to close our eyes, take a couple breaths, and then we'll sing Shema together. And we'll sing Shema as the unity of the energy in the world and in the universe. And we'll take it to tie ourselves to each other, even people who are not here in Los Angeles. But in addition to that, to tie to each other who are next to each other in this room, how we're connected. And to tie ourselves to the people that have been in our lives. Like my father, who's no longer here, but somehow there's a tie of energy between us that still exists. So we're going to read this reading, which is one of my favorite. And then we'll take just a couple seconds of quiet and we'll start with Shema. God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence.
Page 7A.
Just notice your breath for a second. Page 11a. As the sun goes down at about 1 in the afternoon, it gets dark pretty early right now. When it gets dark, it's a time of vulnerability, fear. We get to that point, we're about to go to sleep, and our mind starts to go crazy a little bit. So we ask for a shelter of peace to come over us, so that we can rest peacefully. And perhaps when we wake up in the morning, we'll have a measure more peace in our hearts.
Oh
Please go silently through the Amidah through page 25 with your own prayers from your heart, from the Siddur. And when you're done, just be seated. When we're all seated, we'll continue on.
Tehillah
So before we get to the kind of quote-unquote memorial part of our service this evening, I thought that we could share a little bit. And there was something about this week's Torah portion that caught me, and I asked this question this afternoon in our Torah class. But I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, which is at the beginning of the Torah portion, which is Hey Sarah. We describe how old Sarah was when she died. And it says in the English translation she was 127 years old. But in the Hebrew it says she was 100 years old. She was 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. There's a lot of commentaries as to what that means. But I was thinking, how would you divide your life? If you had to divide it into pieces, what did it mean, 100 years? What happened in those 100 years? And that there were 20 years, was there something specific as to why they said that? And that there were 7 years, why would they have said that? And I was thinking about my father's life, and how would I divide his life up? If I needed to chop it up into pieces and think about it in terms of eras, perhaps. And I was thinking there could be several ways to do this. The first one that came to me that I'm announcing as the truest one is his life was 24 years and, I need to do the math, hold on. It was, I should have known this, I apologize, Mother. 24 years and 71 years. Because he was single for 21 years, but he was married to my mother for 71 years. And I think that being married is one lump sum, one chunk, right? Because it includes getting married, it includes having his children, it includes all of his children marrying and them having children. And in that marriage that took place 71 years ago, really his life kind of flourished from that point. But to really know my father, it was divided into other ways as well. It was divided into different places that he worked, right? So it would be 3 years here, 4 years there, G. Fox and Company, Cohen Display. Boy, I'm forgetting the ones that he did in Boston, because it was so long ago, and I was very young man. But he had the ones in Boston, he had what happened in Cleveland, then he went online, and he had all of these different parts of his life. But if really I was looking at it through his life as a working person, I'd say it was 26 years, and then another 36. Because when he was 50 years old, he had to start from scratch. Absolutely from scratch. And had to build his business up again, and build up who he was. And so I think when it came to business, I would differentiate it from that 24 years, 71, which I'm still saying is the main one. Or I could have done it before I was born and then after I was born. I won't do that one. But there can be all these ways, and I like to think of any time that I'm in any kind of memorial service of what can this teach me about my life. And I think that's the first lesson is thinking about how do we think about our lives in terms of time, and how much time we spend in one area, and how we define who we are by the periods of time that we live in our life. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention. And then really, I think the best way to understand my father without going to a tremendous amount of detail are about the several phrases that my family says over and over. And anytime I hear any of these phrases, I'm always reminded of my father, although most of the time that I hear them, they're coming out of my mouth. So the first one would be, even if I know something, to feign as if I have no idea what the person is talking about, and ask a million questions even though I know the answers to all of those questions. So that's the first one. If you want to kind of get to know somebody, don't be the know-it-all, let them be the know-it-all. Ask a million questions, and then in the end be like, oh yeah, I knew that, okay? So that's the first one, I think, is just ask a lot of questions and get the other person to talk about themselves, and they will think, as he told me once, that you are the greatest conversationalist. All of this, by the way, is found in Dale Carnegie's writings, which were his favorite writings that he recommended to me. So the other three phrases that I thought I would share, One of them is an incident that happened on our way in the Blue Ridge Mountains in 1983. As we were going from my brother's ordination in Cincinnati to Washington, D.C., we're driving along the Blue Ridge Mountains. This is, I believe, before he slammed the door on my finger in the car. But before that happened, we're driving along the most beautiful parkway. And has anyone ever been to Blue Ridge Mountains? Anyone been there? Okay. Oh, you guys drove it together, I guess. No? Oh, with your family, excuse me. So we're driving in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and you know, they have these scenic views, right? And you can pull in, and there's a scenic view. I'm driving, I pull in, we're slowing down, I'm about to stop the car, he rolls down the window, we're looking out the window, he says, okay, we don't have time to fool around. Leave. And that was kind of a joke that we have anytime anything happens. Oh, let's stop here, we don't have time to fool around. So that's something, I actually say it often in my life. That's one of my favorite phrases. Hope I continue to say it. Another one is, I said I had two more. I think I'm going to get one more. This is my favorite one. If you were my son, or if you were you, and you came up to me and you were wearing that sweater, and you said, I'm just going to make believe I'm your dad, okay? You'd say, Dad, do you like my sweater? I would say, yes, if you like blue. Another version of it
We have
could
to blame
be,
him for that? Oh, gosh.
another one could be, yes, if you like sweaters. Right? Whatever it is that the person is wearing, either the color or the thing or whatever. And it's funny because he wasn't saying, I don't like it. He's just saying, yes, if you like sweaters, I like that sweater, right? It's not as if he was putting you down, but there's something about it that is just very funny. And as my daughter can attest, we say that, as the cantor can attest, I say that all the time. You like this talit? If you like talit, right? You like that song? If you like music.
It's horrible.
What's horrible about it?
Great way to get out of having an
Yes.
Great way to get out of having an opinion.
Yes, exactly.
Correct.
Your cancer and your daughter.
Michelle, how often does that?
I say it more than
To me, at least once a day.
but I think overall, what I would want to communicate about my dad would be that he was just a true gentle man. He, wasn't the kind who would yell, and not that he never did, but he wasn't the kind who would. Generally had a positive disposition on things. Loved to hear people talk about themselves. And I think gentle man is the best and most apt description of who he was. Because you can get to it, that he was a gentleman, certainly, but he was just a gentle soul. He was a person that just, he wasn't the loudest person in the room, nor the softest person in the room, but he had I feel like a very calming presence that brought just kind of a gentle feeling to whatever he was doing or involved with. And the final thing really is, that comes on that a little bit, is I also believe that deep down he was an artistic soul, and his life was made incredibly rich by the art he created and that which he took out of his mind and brought out into the world to make it more beautiful. And I think that's something that he would have also appreciated being heard about him. That he made the world more beautiful from his designs and his art that he brought into it. So that's what I wanted to say. Either of you want to say anything, or Melissa, or your family member? Okay, come on up. You have to go to the microphone so they can hear you a little bit. If you know Melissa Greenspan is you're literally not related to my father, but that's okay. She's married to, I think they're both from Connecticut,
That's right,
right?
both from
Married to
Connecticut.
Michelle's brother, Melissa.
We've known Mom for, I'm a sister-in-law. I wanted to say, I said this to you already, oh, excuse me, so such a bother. When I met David, Michelle's brother, your parents were around all the time. And it was like, and I really felt like he was, you know, when you marry someone, you marry their family. And he was part of the family, both his, you know, Jonathan's mom and dad. And so I just, whenever they would come for the holidays or just to visit and see the kids when they were little and everything, it was always so wonderful. I really felt seen by Ron because he always engaged me in conversation. He was always working on some kind of a beautiful design, and at one point he was helping you guys design your kitchen, and he was excited to show me the designs, and then we were considering renovating our apartment, and he made a special trip over to our condo, and he kind of drew out some ideas for us, and he took time. He took time with us. David absolutely felt close to him, and I think I also felt close to him because David felt close to your parents, and they were just a part of the mishpacha, and it just made marrying into this family all the more special. And yes, I think your dad is a gentle man as well as warm and curious and friendly and kind.
I think I said this to you last night. I don't really believe in Bashir. I kind of believe you make your Bashir. However, if there were Bashir, Ron and Mariana, your parents were for sure. They met the way that, you know, that movie It's a Wonderful Life, and they're at the soda fountain. And apparently Ron walked in and Mariana was there already because she was sort of dating the guy who was behind the soda fountain. And I think Ron just knew that that was the answer to his, if we're all looking for something to kind of finish us off or complete us enough when we're just launching, I think he knew. And so Mariana, Jonathan's mom, told us this story that I'd never heard when we were sitting with the rabbi at the intake in Michigan. She said that he found his way onto the subway, and she was always taking train to art school, and he found his way onto the same train all the time. And he couldn't stop talking, she said. He could not stop talking. He was just verbose and just foaming at the mouth talking. And then I guess she realized that he was nervous around her. And I think about how we met. We met, you know, in Israel, and we both sort of like didn't talk around each other. And so it like becomes this thing if you're used to talking and then not, or if you're not used to talking, then you do. And I just noted that, and then how once they got married, he was happy, it seems to me, to let other people talk. And I just think that his life was so anchored once he met Mariana that he could do this work about being there for others in terms of letting them tell their stories and letting them put their stamp on things. And the things he was confident about, he was confident about. If you walk into our house, there's green and there's brown cabinets. And all my friends during the time of making our house, they were like, oh, that's so nice. When are you going to paint the brown?
When are you going to finish it?
When are you going to finish it? I'm like, oh my God, Jonathan, your dad insists this is the right color scheme. I was like, terrified. And Jonathan concurred, no, that's the right way. And it's cool.
And in a magazine several months later, they were talking about the new trends in kitchen design, and sure enough, that's what
I knew better than to like do anything about it, but I was certainly nervous about it. But he was very confident about it. And the last thing I want to share is, again, with listening or feeling seen, invariably my birthday falls on either Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah, and they were there once, and they were like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I just want to be left alone today. I just want to be all by myself. It was a Thursday, and I liked it when the Thursday horoscopes came out in the LA Times. And he heard me say it, but I didn't think anything of it, and they had left that day, the morning of my birthday, and there was a coffee and the LA Times horoscope, and he heard it. And I had forgotten all about it until just now. Thanks, Rick.
wanted to say that for me, I feel that Opa was just such a model of. I felt that he was such a model of what a really loyal husband looks like, a really kind, caring father looks like, a very playful and attentive grandfather, and a true dedicated artist. And one of my favorite things about the way that he, to me, how he always said he never worked a day in his life because he loved what he did so much. And throughout their entire marriage, my Opa and Oma had, what's the word? Drafting tables just facing each other where they would just do their work in silence for hours. And that is like my favorite image. And it's such a perfect representation of just, I think, that's a very specific love language. And I think he understood that type of subtle way of just showing up and caring. And I would always notice him at Passover or big holidays when it's a room full of this family lineage that started with him and Oma. And you can just see everyone connecting and talking, and it's a moment where I can see him taking it in and appreciating it. And I felt like he was such a model of true contentment and peaceful living for me. And I feel so grateful for that. And that was truly till the end, really till that last week, just all of us being together. And I'm just so grateful for that model. Not many people get to say that, so yeah. I wanted to share that. Thank you.
So let's move to Kaddish. It's on page 34A. And let's rise together. I don't want to be insensitive if there's anyone else that is in the midst of Sheloshim or Shiva, or if that's a yard site, or if someone's in the first year after the death of a loved one. Is there any other name besides Ronald and Aaron that we need to say Kaddish for?
Jacob Carter, my dad.
And my mom, Mary Rockman.
Okay. Let's sing together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rama. Ve'alma divrach v'yotei ve'amlich malchotei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael. Hagana v'zman karev v'yiru amen. Yehei shemei Rama v'varach ve'aram amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitfa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithatar v'yithaleh v'yithalah shemei v'kudshah v'rechu. Le'elam nimko berchata sheshirata tushkachata v'nechamata damiram v'yamam v'yiru amen. Yehi shulamo rabam min shemayim v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yiru amen. Oseh shalom nimrumav u'yachzeh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yiru amen. Peace to those who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved. And we say Amen. Let's get arm in arm and end with a psalm that says how good it is that we are together. And I would like to tie in my parents one more time to Chayei Sorah. At the end of the Torah portion, when Rebecca...
Hold on, I'm moving it this way.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. Because they couldn't see anything.
When...
Sorry. Here we go.
When Rebecca shows up, she's on a camel. She sees Isaac. He's so handsome It says she fell off the camel. My dad was a very handsome man. And I'm sure that if my mother was on a camel when she met him, that she would have fallen off that camel upon seeing him. So with that, which I'm going to hear about tomorrow, let's sing Hine Matov Umanai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Umanai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam. Thank you so much for coming here in the middle of the week so that we could say Kaddish and to commemorate this 30-day period that our family is going through. Really, really appreciate all of you being here to allowing us to say these words. And
Do we all have razors? Like, are we going to have to shave right
no,
now?
I have them ready to go. Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful evening and a prayerful and peaceful Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you.
Can you imagine in 2 months it would be like